Good morning, guys. So this has been a hot minute since I have filmed anything in a gym, but it's a brand new program and I had to share it with you. So a lot of things are changing, a lot of new things happening, a lot of big things coming. And this is one of those things. So today's workout is a nice lower body session. I have made a couple of little adjustments to the types of exercises that I'm including, and also the training intensity. One of the things that I'm going to be kind of backing off on substantially compared to previous training programs is the amount of quad work and quad volume. So I'm trying to probably lose a little bit of size off my quads, if anything. I know that I've worked really hard to kind of bring them up, but based on what I'm moving to next year, I don't quite need quite as much muscularity in that area. But of course, still really focusing on the glutes, really hitting the hamstrings hard. And that's probably about all for at least this workout. I can tell you more when I show you or bring to you guys my upper body sessions. So I'm gonna get warmed up. I am starting with squats today. I'm gonna go and check my program. I think I'm working to sets of 5 or 6. So we'll see what the intensity is this week. It is week 2, so I'm gonna guess that my program is probably gonna progress me in some way as far as the intensity goes. And we'll get started. Ain't nothing better than a new pair of kicks. Nice and white, won't last long, I can tell you now. I'm married into a Norton family, and those guys do not keep whites clean at all. Oh my God. My body, it's not functioning so well in the cold. I am gonna do a little bit of extra warming up today because here in Florida, it is now below 70 in the mornings, which in Celsius, it's probably like in the teens, which is unusual for here. So everyone turns into a pansy the minute it gets below 20 degrees or 70. So just want to make sure I'm feeling warm. I haven't done a walk today either, so usually before I start my training, I'll do like a 10-minute brisk walk on a treadmill just to get the blood circulating, get everything temperature-wise up to where it needs to be. So a little bit of extra dynamic stretching and some mobility today, so I don't tear a hamstring or a glute. So I realized why I kept snapping all of these bands. I was tying them or attaching them around the squat racks, and where the J-peg sits into the rack, it's got like a sharp edge, and I was actually slicing all my bands. And poor Teresa, one of the training sessions we did, we were doing banded RDLs. She's doing her thing, the damn band snaps and slaps her in the ass. It was funny to watch. I felt terrible afterwards. So, ladies, gents, if you are using one of the bands, put it around something with a smooth edge so it doesn't slice your bands in half. So this is just a hip mobility exercise. So obviously applying tension, it's kind of warming up the outside when you push in, and then when you let go, because there's resistance, it's kind of pulling your hip out and open. So again, just 5 to 10 per side, and then I'm going to swap it over, and then I'll take the intensity up a little bit by stretching the band a bit more resistance. I've got a thick skin for this, it's a little painful. There you go. All right, you guys know what's next. Thoracic support. Oh my God. I just felt about 17 things pop. Also, this would be a whole lot easier. I didn't have a jumper on. What do you guys call it? A sweater? splitter. I'll stick to jumper. Hot mess today. Guys, I started wearing my fringe bangs. There is another one. Fringe. Australia, we call this a fringe. My bangs on the other side. So, I don't know. I was going bald on the other side, so I figured this is a good strategy. Just to cover it up. No, I'm kidding. I'm trying to grow it out, and now it's ugly on the other side. So, can't win. So guys, for the first couple of sets, I usually don't wear my lifting belt. The reason that I do that is to really try and get my core kind of acting and working on its own. So I have to kind of brace extra hard. Once I've done 3 warm-up sets, that's kind of when I will throw my belt on, or my knee sleeves. I'll usually do one or the other. If I'm in a hurry, I'll just do both. Get it done with, but yeah, I kind of like to add things gradually, because every time you add another belt, or you add the knee sleeves, the wrist wraps, you feel more supported, and there's a level of confidence that comes with that, I guess. I don't know, maybe that's just me, but I certainly feel like that. It really helps get me ready for the heavier lifts. I feel like my right hip is giving me some bother, like in my hip flexor. It's clicking. So just going to be mindful of that today and not just jump straight into anything crazy. So I'm wearing Iron Tanks knee sleeves. These are a medium for my medium-sized legs. When I'm competing, if I was going to do powerlifting, like actually a meet, I would try and squeeze into the small, just for a little bit of extra support. And I can tell you now, I would have someone help me put these bad boys on. So those kind of split up pretty easy. I also do have moisturizer on my legs that helped me today, but a little bit tougher with the small size. So also lifting in these Converse today, and they're actually, these are a platform. Not a good idea for a squat day, but it was what was in my car and I was running late. So this is what I'm gonna lift in, but typically you would wanna have something with a much lower, more contact with the ground. Like, look at this, this is like an inch. Literally, I'm nearly as tall as Brian. I'm like 6'5" right now, it's great. The key to this, roll over and down, grab it with your fingers underneath, slide it up over your knee, and then unwrap it without breaking your fingernails. Because, man, I've done that before, and these guys hurt. So a couple of people have asked, do I need to lift with a lift here that I'm about to wear today? My answer is no, but at the end of the day, you will get a little bit more out of your lifts if you wear a weightlifting belt or a powerlifting belt. And you know, the argument for those people might be, oh, well, I'm cheating. But at the end of the day, like, what is your purpose? What is your goal? If your goal is to build muscle and grow as much as you can, what do you need to do that? Resistance, load, time under tension, all those things matter. So if you can lift more weight with a belt and load up the muscles intended to be worked, it's a no-brainer. So hopefully I don't call emergency. So when I wear these, I'm kind of really putting those on pretty tight. See how I've got no blood circulation in my fingers right now? Like, I'm getting that tight. So just for close-up reference, if you want to look at my claw right now, this is what you should be doing. If you're trying to minimize that movement in your wrist. This is saving my bones. Used to flip the other way now. That felt okay. Feel better when I put my belt on, hopefully. So I'm going to be doing 3 sets of 4 to 8 reps. So I'm still working at a pretty low intensity this week, so somewhere between 6 or 7. Last week, let me go back and see what I hit. 205 for my first set, and then my second working set, because it was a deload week, first week, 225. So I did 5 reps at that. So I'll probably try and work up to that again this week and see how that feels. Hips feeling a little gross, but we'll just get it done. Okay, I have to tell you something about this song really. I know you guys can't hear it very well, but it's Gwen Stefani. Oh, do you know the name? Feeling hella good, so let's just keep on moving, whatever that song is. This was the first song that I ever sang in a band. So my all-girl band, our band was called Lavalia. Shout out to Roisin, Claudia, Alex. Who else was there? I don't know, Alicia. Us girls had a blast. And this was one of the first songs that I ever performed in high school. We're all standing there like stunned mullets. You know, when you're like, just get the song done. And I think the song got a little bit faster the entire way through. All right, enough talking, Holly. Okay, it's one of those days. Oh, Lane's here. Yeah, didn't even know. There he is. Doesn't even come and say hello. It's karma. I do the same thing. I don't even see him in the gym half the time. I'm like, oh, hi. Yeah, that felt terrible. I'm just going to go off a small amount. So we've got up to 215. Probably going to stay there unless this one feels radically better.
In upper body, I'm not going to deadlift because I just feel like shit.
Oh, welcome to the club. Woo! Feels like shit too.
Not a competition.
No, I did my first over squats. I'm like, ooh, 205. Ow.
What are you working up to today? 205?
No, I was at 205. It felt like crap, but I'm going to do 215.
Of course, more.
A small jump more. 25 for 8. And this week I did 205 for 5 and was like, no. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's just one of those things, you just got to have that expectation that it's a lot of peaks and troughs with strength lifting. And sometimes you get in your own head.
Yeah, it's great when you're a beginner and you just...
Yeah.
10 pounds a week.
Truly, that was like, I got in there, I was like 170, 190,
yeah, 205, everybody
225.
Squat 1,000 pounds.
Yeah,
it was just keep getting stronger.
It was truly like a linear improvement, and then all of a sudden you kind of max out at your, what do you call it, like your natural strength.
I mean, you don't really max out, but like it just gets harder and harder to make progress, and It's
annoying.
like 5 steps forwards, 4 steps back.
Yeah.
So hopefully make that one little thing.
So for anyone that's in that phase right now, it's normal.
Yeah.
You can't just keep increasing forever. I'm going to be working on my more intense RPE rep range today. We have your training intensity RPE 8, and then we have our competition RPE 8. I'm there today. All right.
Make your knees touch your elbows and break it down. Because your knees are almost like on your quad.
Oh, I feel like funny. Oh, quick release. Yeah, I love this belt. So good. Used to have a leather belt with a prong, but you'd finish a set like that and you're like and then you're like trying to get the damn prong out while you're suffocating. So this, guys, if you haven't seen these up close, so this is called a lever, and this is a new style for iron tanks. You'll notice over here it's got 4 different notches. So if I go out for a meal on the weekend and I overindulge a little, I can put it on the loose one, like I'm doing now. Or if I'm feeling real skinny, I can put it on the tighter one. And then all you do, suck in, not pinch yourself, put your thumb there, and then it latches down. And it's pretty tight. And then it quick releases. It's good. They're expensive. But man, I've had this belt for years. Coming on 2.5, and I've had this is new. The belt, solid. Might go and get Lane again, see if it helps. I should do the Lane stop.
Get tight, come on.
My hip flexor. I've neglected my body for the last year. So I just cut ties with my therapist. Not for any particular reason. God, that sounded bad. Just stopped going. Kind of had some other priorities that were taking up my time, and I'm like, I've only got so many hours in the day. Like, what's the one thing that I had to give up to get those things and deadlines met? And that was it. And it definitely catches up with me. Like, I don't lift well when I'm really tight. You know, like, it's hard to hit range of motion. Obviously, that's important if you're thinking about hypertrophy. But yeah, I just need to get back into a better routine with that when some things fall off my plate. Sorry. Well, you know what? I'm glad I got through that exercise because I wasn't meant to do it. It's one less thing I have to do later in the week. I was actually meant to do a heavy, slow eccentric RDL, like really slow. So like a 4 count, very controlled movement. But I'll do that on day 3. All right, summarize this bar. Oh, leg press. High feet position on the leg press is going to help increase my glute activation compared to a low feet stance. And the narrow or kind of shoulder width apart is probably a little bit of all of your lower body, as opposed to taking your feet really wide, which again, that really brings in the glutes even more. Or if you go really close, so narrower than shoulder width apart, now you're thinking a little bit more quads. So yeah, that's what we're doing. What else can we do? Lying hamstring curls, abduction machine. Okay, 3 sets of somewhere between 10 to 14 RPE. This week is a 7 to 8. So last week my RPE was a little less because it was a deload, so I think I will be doing the entire stack with a pause. 205. Thank you. Hey. Thank you, Sean. Sean, favourite trainer from the gym here at Crunch. You guys want in-person training, go to Sean. It's pretty cool. So the reason that I put this here is just to kind of give me a little bit more support, and that 1 inch makes a bit of a difference in my hip angle so that I can actually get my hamstrings working a little better. So I'm working between 12 to 15 reps for this one. So I'm going to do set number 1 with my feet kind of just shoulder width apart, and then I'll slowly bring them in, and then by my last one I'll do like a feet touching. I've got to take this phone call, it's my carpet cleaner. Okay, slightly narrower stance. We're moving all over the place today. So I was on the adduction, it's now gone. Oh, the leg press is still free, that's good. So I know I've said this before, but as far as like specific hamstring isolation exercises, I prefer, and the science says that seated hamstring curl is better. Because you're already in a position where your hamstring is under stretch, it's already lengthened. Whereas when we're in a prone position, angle, see, it's a lot more open. So you're not quite getting the same range of motion and stretch. So I don't mind the machine that we have here at Crunch. I believe they're getting some new equipment. They're about to expand, knock out a wall. They've got the whole big building behind us, so I'm hoping that they bring in some more equipment just to mix it up. There's only so many ways you can train a muscle group with limited equipment. I guess everybody at home probably feels the same way, so I won't complain, but it just makes it a little bit harder. So I'm doing both in my program, so I've got a bit of diversity, but the other is actually better. So I'll do my last set now with my heels actually touching. Over here. We're doing everything in reverse today. It's not optimal. Let's not waste half of our day. Okay. So one of the things that I'm trying to do a little bit more, or be more conscious of with my lifts, is pausing a little longer between reps, or where my muscle is lengthened. So on the hamstring curl, for instance, when I take my legs down and my hamstrings are stretched, pausing just to kind of let that stretch reflex kind of activate rather than rushing the rep. And then same on this movement. So makes it a whole lot harder actually, because the muscles are kind of relaxing in that position, and then you got to contract them again. So here for a glute abduction, obviously they're flexed when your knees are out, when your knees are together. Now that muscle is in the lengthened position. So I'm kind of pausing a little bit longer here with when my knees are together. And it does make it a whole lot harder. So I've been lifting the stack for a little while, and I'll mix up the rep ranges and do different techniques like pause or slow eccentric, but even just pausing between reps here with a little bit of tension on makes it a whole lot harder. So that was previously probably an RPE 6. It's taken it to like an RPE 8 for me. Same, I've changed nothing but pause. So give that a go. All right, let's go back to the leg press. So like I was saying before, we can have our feet high, low, wide. I'm keeping it pretty neutral. So just having my feet up a little bit more, I can already feel there's a little bit more activation here. But the narrow stance is keeping some quad focus as well. In my last training block that you guys might have done with the Road to Worlds, I had a high and wide stance. So I was getting a little bit more inner thigh because I've got my leg wide. So this will get a little bit, or your adductors will get a little bit more action, and your glutes. Sorry. You know me, I like to mix it up. Turning my toes out just a little bit. I can feel that in my hip, so that little adjustment helped. They are playing all the throwbacks today. This is Sum 41 in Too Deep. I remember driving around with a car full of girls. We used to call it, we used to do blockies. So there was this like black in Launceston where I grew up. This was definitely one of the songs. We'd pull up to the lights and we'd be like, yeah. Back when I thought I had stress. Okay, let's have a look at the rep range for today. Three sets of 6 to 10, slightly lower RPE, 6 to 7 today. I think last week I did 270. So I'll just see how I feel. I can try and match it, or if I'm feeling good, I can try and push past. Do 270 for set 1. By the way, guys, I don't include the weight of the machine itself. It's just how I track. There's no right or wrong way, but just know that you're probably lifting more if you've just been doing what I do and you just track your weights. All right, well, I'm gonna do 10, I think, for a first set. If I can do more, that's great. Okay, here we go. Actually a challenging thing for anyone who trains on their own. I understand how difficult it is to just rest. It's almost like when you have a training buddy, you're kind of forced to rest because they've got to do their set, and then you chat. I find I am always a little bit rushed when I go on my own, which isn't necessarily a good thing, and I've talked about this thousands of times before. If I was to jump back in now and I'm not recovered, I'm probably not going to be able to lift the same number of reps. Lower volume equals less potential for building muscle. Yeah, that was good. So I would like to give a shout out this morning to Crumble Cookie. They are a US based cookie company. And today's workout is fueled by Crumble. It was just looking at me this morning while I was making my coffee. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have that. So it's good. I don't have like a pit in my stomach today. That is one thing I have noticed from prep to now. I never used to get hungry in the mornings. I kind of just power straight through my workouts. And for whatever reason, now my calories are a little bit higher. It's almost like your stomach gets used to being fuller. So then if you starve it or intermittently fast, I get hungry now. So I have been sneaking a little snack before training. It's not always a delicious cookie, but it might be like a chocolate rice cake and peanut butter. That's actually a good friend Shelley, client Shelley, her go-to snack in the morning. Or I bought myself some Vegemite. I have not had Vegemite in so long. So I went to a specialty store and got crumpets, because crumpets, for the Aussies out there, they actually don't sell them here really. It's not something that people eat for breakfast. They do have them, but you'd have to be at the right place at the right time. So I've been having a crumpet with lots of butter and some veggies. It's been a long time. Okay, that's enough procrastinating. Let's just do this last set, eh? What did I do in the hamstring curl? I actually got substantially weaker at that. Set 1 was good, 70 pounds, so 12 reps, 14 reps, and then I actually dropped it back to 60. So not my best lift. But I think my hamstrings are pretty strong. It's just that particular movement I feel like I'm not very good at the moment, but I will get better. So by the way, guys, so like my last set I stopped myself at 12 reps. I didn't go to 14. Otherwise that would have taken me to an RPE of 10. Like I didn't want to go to failure because I meant to be working at a lower intensity. So hopefully that makes sense. I've done the adduction. Oh, I've got standing calf raise and then a core exercise. And then I have a lower body expenditure circuit. So that sounds fun. Okay, 3 sets of 10 to 14. RPE somewhere around 7 to 8. I took an oath in contest prep that I would never train calves again. Here we are. I hate them. You know why? Track sprinting for better part of 10 years, I had to do so many. Just think about like when you're sprinting, like you're coming up on your toes, like you've got to be on your toes, like every time your foot strikes the ground, like you're up. So I remember both of my coaches actually, Leslie and Curvis, Peter Fortune. A lot of calf work. You know, when you rebel against whatever you had to do a lot when you're a kid. It's like your mum made you clean, take the garbage out, and you never do it as an adult. Okay, so like I've said, my goal is not to build any more muscle. In fact, I'm trying to shrink. But if I take away my lower body volume, like I'd previously been doing, I'm taking away energy that was previously being expended. And what happens when your energy balance moves back in a positive direction? I'll probably put on a little bit of body fat. It's not the end of the world, but I would prefer not to, because it just means I've got more work to do down the track when it comes to getting it back off. So yeah, I'm still using some lower body exercises because these are bigger muscle groups, therefore they're going to require a little bit more energy than if I was to do like push-ups or more triceps or biceps. So hopefully I could at least match or come close to the same amount of energy that I was burning previously without building any more muscle. Moderate intensity steady state cardio or low intensity steady state cardio would also be appropriate. Just means that you would have to do a little bit more of it because it's not as hard, so you don't burn as many calories. Good old crunches. So main focus again on this particular exercise, and by the way, we're doing an underhand grip wrap. Wraps come over. I think I've seen a lot of people do this. That is, I mean, you could, but it's not really going to help. You want to be able to link your hand over, so it kind of locks you in. And then this focus is really about getting spinal flexion. So I am going to be focusing on tucking and crunching. And I'm taller than I thought. Hungry. Might have to eat Layne's crumble cookie. So this afternoon, or actually when we get done here, I'm going back home to take some video and photos and do some food porn. So it is Thanksgiving coming up here in almost a week, or just over a week actually. And I have an amazing pumpkin cheesecake. And I'm going to kind of top it with probably some Heath bar, pecans, honey candy pecans, and a caramel glaze or caramel sauce. It's probably the best cheesecake I've actually ever made. It's so smooth, so I always overbeat. So usually when you're like folding in your eggs, you're gonna do it minimally because it like kind of aerates it otherwise, and when you're baking, it causes it to expand, and that's what causes the cracks. This is like the smoothest cheesecake getting around. So I'm quite proud of myself. I was patient. So I can't wait to give you that recipe, guys. So you might have seen how I like push my heels together when I'm like on the ground. It just helps stay warm, especially if you don't have a partner. Otherwise I would have someone hold my ankles. It looks hilarious. Get your partner there. Holding you on the ground is really fun, but it does help if you stick your heels together or dig your toes into the ground. So I've got alternating reverse lunges. You do this a bunch of ways. I'm doing them with a long stride, or as long as I can go. So that's what I'm going to be doing for exercise 1. This is a tri-set, 3 exercises back to back. Exclamation mark, apostrophe, hashtag, if I can. Anyway, second exercise is curtsy lunges. So coming across, really thinking about keeping your core nice and tight, and driving like this, center of gravity through your foot. So I'm thinking about pressing through all of my toes, like big toe, little toe, and my heel. And then the last exercise is a single leg hip raise. So I'll get my mat. Much to say about that, to be honest. So guys, I'm not going to bother filming another whole round for you. I'm going to wrap this video up. I really hope that you have enjoyed this particular session. I hope you took something away from it, found some value, whether it was training cues, training tips, new exercises, better understanding of why we do certain things, rep ranges, strength, energy expenditure, crazy circuits at the end of your workout. But that is my goal, to educate you and help you get what you're looking for out of your training program. So thanks for tuning in. If you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please give me a like, give me a follow. Check out all of my social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, websites, all that good stuff. And until next time, I will see you then.